In the endless sands of the Nile, over 3 millennia of drama, ambition, catastrophe, and divine claim played out under the rule of the pharaohs. These rulers were more than kings. They were gods on earth, shepherds of order, Maat, warriors, priests, and builders of wonders. Today, we unravel their legacy, the dynasties, the triumphs, and the tragedies. Now let's start with the question, what even makes someone a pharaoh? And to answer that, we need to wind back the clock. Around c. 3100 BCE, two separate lands, Upper Egypt, south, and Lower Egypt, north, were unified under a single ruler. Many historians credit Narmer, also known as Menes, as the first pharaoh who merged the two lands, wearing the double crown and establishing Memphis as a capital. This act set in motion the dynastic tradition. The title pharaoh itself comes from the ancient Egyptian term per-ee, meaning great house, and was used to refer to the pharaoh's palace or, more broadly, their domain. Over time, it evolved to signify the pharaoh as a supreme leader. But being a pharaoh wasn't just about having a fancy title, it was about embodying certain roles and responsibilities. They were not only the political head of the state, but also the religious leader, tasked with maintaining order, both in the kingdom and in the cosmos. They claimed descent from gods like Horus, and their bloodline was seen as a link to the divine. The pharaoh's duty was to uphold Maat, a concept that encompassed truth, justice, order, and harmony. Their every action, from making laws to waging wars, had to align with these principles. So what qualities did it take to be a successful pharaoh? Leadership skills, obviously. But there's more. You needed divine favor, strategic thinking, charisma, and an iron will. Let's meet some of the most iconic figures who held this esteemed title. To really understand the role of the pharaohs, we have to look at the eras they ruled over. First up, we have the Old Kingdom, which lasted from around 2575 BCE to around 2150 BCE. This period is often called the Age of Pyramids because of the monumental pyramids that were built as tombs for the pharaohs. These massive structures weren't just tombs, they were symbols of the pharaoh's divine power and wealth. Take, for example, the Great Pyramid of Giza, which was built during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. It's the oldest of the 7 wonders of the ancient world and remained the tallest man-made structure for over 3,800 years. Imagine the awe it must have inspired in the ancient world. These pyramids also tell us about the organization and engineering prowess of the time. They were constructed with incredible precision, with some stones weighing several tons, all fitted together without any mortar. It took thousands of workers and resources from across Egypt to build them. So the pharaohs who commissioned these pyramids, like Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, were not only powerful, but also visionary. They understood the importance of leaving behind a legacy that would outlive them, and these pyramids certainly did that. But the Old Kingdom wasn't just about grand architecture, it was also a time when the pharaohs played a central role in agriculture. The Nile River's annual floods provided fertile soil for crops, but managing this resource was crucial. Pharaohs like Unas and Teti implemented systems to control irrigation and distribute water. They also established granaries to store food for times of scarcity and for those in need. The pharaohs were essentially the providers for their people. They had to ensure that the land was cultivated, the crops were plentiful, and the people were fed. Failure to do so could lead to famine and unrest. Then there's the fact that the Old Kingdom pharaohs were also builders. They constructed temples, palaces, and other structures that served both practical and religious purposes. For example, the Step Pyramid of Djoser, built during the reign of Pharaoh Djoser, is considered the oldest major stone structure in the world. It was a funerary monument that showed a departure from the traditional mastaba tombs and marked a significant development in Egyptian architecture. The Old Kingdom eventually faced challenges due to a combination of factors, including environmental stress, internal strife, and weakened central power. But nevertheless, it laid the foundation for the future kingdoms and set the stage for the pharaohs who came after. Next up, we have the Middle Kingdom, which spanned from roughly 2055 BCE to 1650 BCE. Think of this period as a kind of renaissance for Egypt. After a period of political fragmentation, the pharaohs in this era, like Mentuhotep II and Senusret III, worked to restore central authority and bring Egypt back to its former glory. They re-established trade networks, reformed the tax system, and launched building projects that left an architectural legacy. The pharaohs of the Middle Kingdom were also patrons of the arts and literature. They commissioned works of poetry, music, and painting that celebrated Egyptian culture and values. For example, the tale of Sinuhe, a famous Egyptian poem, is believed to have been written during the reign of Amenemhat III. It tells the story of a noble who flees to the land of the living after accidentally killing the pharaoh's son. The poem explores themes of loyalty, guilt, and redemption, and provides insights into the social and cultural norms of the time. The Middle Kingdom was not without its challenges. Egypt faced internal divisions and external pressures, setting the stage for the next period, the Second Intermediate Period, where foreign rulers, including the Hyksos, gained control over parts of Egypt. The Hyksos were a group of foreign rulers who gained control of Lower Egypt around 1648 BC. They were a mix of different peoples from the Levant and Asia Minor who had come to Egypt as mercenaries and traders, but eventually seized power. The Hyksos introduced new weapons and technologies to Egypt, such as the chariot. They also adopted some Egyptian customs and integrated into Egyptian society to some extent. However, their rule was marked by conflict with the native Egyptians, particularly in Thebes. Eventually, the Egyptian ruler Kamose expelled the Hyksos from Thebes, marking the end of the Second Intermediate Period and the beginning of the New Kingdom. Now, the New Kingdom, which lasted from approximately 1550 BCE to 1070 BCE, was a golden age for Egypt. It was a time of military expansion, cultural flourishing, and prosperity. The expulsion of the Hyksos led to a resurgence of Egyptian power, and the pharaohs of this era, like Ahmose I, Thutmose III, and Amenhotep III, were conquerors and builders. They waged wars against neighboring kingdoms, expanded Egypt's borders, and secured its dominance in the region. But they also built monumental temples and monuments that celebrated their victories and legitimized their rule. For example, the temple complex of Karnak, which was built over several centuries by various pharaohs, stands as a testament to the wealth and power of the New Kingdom. It includes a series of interconnected structures, including chapels, pylons, and gardens, and is adorned with intricate carvings and reliefs depicting scenes from Egyptian mythology and the pharaoh's military campaigns. Similarly, the Luxor Temple, built by Amenhotep III, is a masterpiece of Egyptian architecture. It features towering columns, colossal statues of the pharaoh, and a series of shrines dedicated to various gods. It also played an important role in religious festivals and celebrations during the New Kingdom. Art and literature reached new heights. The tombs of nobles and pharaohs were filled with colorful paintings that depicted scenes from daily life, religious rituals, and the afterlife. The Book of the Dead, an ancient Egyptian funerary text, was also compiled during this period and provided instructions for navigating the afterlife. But the New Kingdom was not just about war and building. It was also a time of religious experimentation. Akhenaten, who ruled from 1353 to 1336 BCE, was a controversial figure who attempted to introduce a new religion that centered around the sun disk Aten. He moved the empire's capital to Amarna and abandoned traditional religious centers like Thebes. While his religious reforms were later reversed, they had a profound impact on Egyptian art and architecture. Akhenaten's successors, including Tutankhamun, returned to traditional religion and the old capital, but the new kingdom eventually declined due to a combination of internal and external factors. The empire's size made it difficult to manage and defend, and there was increasing competition for resources and power in the region. By 1070 BCE, Egypt had entered a period of decline that lasted for several centuries. After the New Kingdom, Egypt was ruled by various foreign powers, including the Nubian kingdom of Kush, the Assyrians, and the Persians. However, the legacy of the pharaohs lived on in the popular imagination. In the Ptolemaic era, which lasted from 305 to 30 BCE, Egypt was ruled by a Greek dynasty founded by Ptolemy I, a general of Alexander the Great. During this period, Alexandria became the center of the empire and attracted scholars and intellectuals from all over the Mediterranean. Perhaps the most famous pharaoh of this era was Cleopatra VII, known for her intelligence, political acumen, and tragic romance with Roman general Mark Antony. Her defeat by Octavian, who later became Augustus, the first emperor of Rome, marked the end of pharaonic rule in Egypt and the beginning of Egypt as a Roman province. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour through the ages of the pharaohs. These legendary rulers shaped not just the course of ancient Egyptian history, but left an indelible mark on human civilization. Their stories are a blend of triumph and tragedy, power and intrigue, divinity and humanity. As we reflect on their legacies, we can't help but wonder about the pharaohs we haven't met yet, whose stories are waiting to be uncovered in the sands of time. The story of the pharaohs is a story of divine ambition, monumental architecture, religious innovation, empire building, and decline. Their names still echo in our history: Khufu, Ramses, Cleopatra, Tutankhamun. Their tombs whisper secrets yet to be told. If you enjoyed this journey through Egypt's dynastic legacy, hit like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and let me know in the comments. Which pharaoh fascinated you the most?